want to talk about is take it out of the realm of the physical. The most interesting thing that I've heard about you, from you, is what happened when you wrote Finding Ultra and you thought, all right, this is it, done being a lawyer, here we go, universe, give me some good stuff. And then it didn't quite play out like that.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't. I've been a corporate lawyer for many years. I was a corporate lawyer during the period of time that I wrote that book. And the book was successful, and yet in the wake of that book being published and doing well, the phone didn't ring. And I had let my bar membership lapse, and here I was, ready and available to speak to the world and be of service, and the opportunities just weren't flowing. It was a very difficult time, and it tested me to my core. I mean, we almost lost our house. I had cars repossessed. We couldn't pay our bills. It was very emasculating. But I think the alchemy of going through that has been something that now allows me to speak from a place of greater truth and depth with what I do. So I'm grateful for the experience.
I love that, man. And in hearing you say that, I can tell that you really mean that. But I want to paint the picture a little bit more for people. The part that really hit me was when you said that you guys couldn't even pay for your trash to be taken away. And that's when I realized, okay, wait, this wasn't like oh, things are tight. Mm-hmm. This was like, we can't pay $60 for our garbage to be picked up. And then they come and like take the trash cans away.
It was the worst.
I mean,
it's so embarrassing. It was so incredibly emasculating. Yeah, we went through periods where we literally barely had enough money to put food on the table, and we couldn't pay to have our trash removed, and they did. They came and they took the bins. And then we were compelled to then put our trash in the back of our crappy, beat up minivan and find an empty dumpster to dump the garbage. It was not easy, man. It was not
What do you teach your kids? So like bringing this all back to looking at you as like this insanely empowering example of how to use pain in all of its forms. Like, what do you teach your kids about pain? Because they watched that happen, right? And they watched you push through, and obviously everybody knows you on the other side of this already.
Yeah.
So what do you teach them? Like, how do you help them assign meaning to that hard time, that not being broken and continuing to push?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I have 4 kids, and it's something that was very challenging as a parent. And again, I keep using the word emasculating, as somebody who is supposed to be the head of household and take care of these sorts of things. To be unable to do that was incredibly difficult. I've spoken to my boys at length about this, and as difficult as it was an incredible learning experience for them to understand that the world doesn't owe you anything. It quashed any sense of Gen Z entitlement, or anything like that. And I think it taught them the value of really what it means to pursue a dream and what is required to see it through. I think it would have split up a lot of marriages or families, but we treated it like a board game. We're like, okay, how are we going to do this? Like, what's the plan? Let's do it, and let's try to have fun with it, and sort of deplete all of or sort of drain all of the anxiety and tension and fear that can surround it. And when you do that, you realize, like, we're going to be okay.
That's really extraordinary, and knowing how stressful that must have been, there are so many powerful lessons to be learned in there. One thing I'd love for you to give to listeners right now is, what did you do? Like, what does, and I'm going to conflate a couple things that maybe are better separate, but you've talked about this God of your own making. And then, so you said your faith was being tested in this time. So you didn't sell out. You didn't like do some cheap thing. And this is what years? We're back in like what, 2000?
Like 2000. This was like 2012 through 2014, 15.
Yeah,
16.
so it's not like going into podcasting was like an obvious answer to your problems back then. So how did you stay true to the vision when it just, I mean, you're literally getting picked apart down to not being able to pay for your garbage?
I worked my ass off and exploited every opportunity that presented itself. I did a ton of speaking gigs for free. I did anything that was asked of me, anyone who would want to talk to me, but it was really just a function of showing up, working my ass off, saying yes, and having a strong core belief that I was on the right path.
Yeah, I love it. And being able to keep pushing, and that's the part that I really hope people hear, is that it's not just sitting back and waiting for something to happen.
No,
It's,
definitely not.
you know, it's trying everything you can to like really make something, but being true to that mission and knowing what you're trying to bring to the world. I think that's really extraordinary.